Hey friends, how's it going? Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Hope you're doing well. Armaf has blessed us with a new fragrance. And this time, it's not a new Club de Nuit. I know, it's insane. Instead, it is this piece of artwork. Spartacus. Like the old school movie, Spartacus, yeah. The gladiator.
Show me.
This right here I bought from eBay for like $52 and change. And like 2 days later, it was available at JOMASHOP for $28. But that's okay, because that means now you have one as well, or one of you will, when I give it away later in today's video. For now though, it's time to talk Spartacus, what it smells like, if it's worth the price at 28, not 52, the whole deal. Let's start by taking a look at the presentation. It's so high quality, brother. First, the box. On the front, you have a gladiator helmet. You also have the name of the fragrance, you have the concentration, name of the brand as well. Nothing up top, nothing on the sides. Little info on the back. You've got your ingredients, your badge code, your barcode, all of the codes. It has a slightly cushioned feel to the top of the box. You can open it up like so, and inside this cutout is where your bottle will sit. And here is that bottle. It doesn't even look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. This looks like Ronnie Coleman, like prime Ronnie Coleman, if he had his arms chopped off and his lower body chopped off and a helmet put on his head. Bottle has a gradient, black at the bottom, silver up top. It is totally yoked, it is jacked, it is roided. It says Spartacus Eau de Parfum, and then on the bottom you've got your badge code, a little Armaf sticker as well, and the cap slides into place. Go ahead and do a couple sprays, here we go. Atomizer, it's all right. It's not pressurized, it feels a little cheap. So Spartacus here, what does it smell like? Well, sort of a hybrid. To me, it appears clearly inspired by this, Elixir Absolute, which makes a lot of sense. This one does CrossFit. This one is just an absolute monster. It looks like the Hulk. But yeah, they both have male torsos that are missing limbs as the vibe here. So this is a bit inspired by this, but also another fragrance from PDM, Altair, which you can kind of tell when you look at the note breakdown for Spartacus here, because the note breakdown is big, and basically it's just taking the note breakdowns of both those fragrances and just making it one. But that's just the dumbed down version. How does it actually smell? What are the differences here? And is it actually pulled off well? And is it worth buying? Because that's the most important part. Well, as I said, I bought mine from eBay and then JOMASHOP after the fact. And if you shop at JOMASHOP, I have codes to save money. Blah, here they are. They only work within the JOMASHOP app, so be aware of that. But anytime you're shopping at JOMASHOP, whether it's for cologne fragrances, inspired by fragrances, designers, niche, whatever, you can use those codes to save yourself some money. Also in the description, you can copy and paste. I also have codes for Gift Express, for Fragflex, and many more stores. So anytime you shop at those places, you use those codes. All right, so when you first spray Spartacus on, you can tell immediately, yes, it's inspired by Elixir Absolute. They do have a good amount in common when you first spray it on. So that cinnamon plum combination, sweet, warm, a little bit ambery at the same time, it hits really similarly to Elixir Absolute, but there is a little bit of a difference. So off the top, Elixir Absolute has more of that, that effervescence to it, that sort of sparkle, that way that the spices just kind of leap off your skin. A little more of that is going on over here with the JPG. Whereas with Spartacus, it actually comes across a little bit smoother, less effervescent. And a big reason why is the orange blossom note that's in here. You can pick that up melding together with the plum and the cinnamon when you first spray it on. So this one, a little bit more of like a velvety sweetness, if that makes any sense. And this one more of a sparkling, fizzy sweetness. As Spartacus settles down in the opening, you also get some creamy vanilla that comes out. Bourbon vanilla is gonna be one of the main notes in the fragrance here, and that's gonna tie it in actually a little bit more with Altair, with the PDM side of things. Because at the same time that vanilla is settling in with Spartacus, Elixir Absolute over here is still more the spices, more of that bubbling kind of effervescent spice meets warm sweetness and tonka coming out and that lavender from Lamal kind of settling in. That's what this one is doing, whereas this one is smoothing out and becoming a little creamier, a little more vanilla forward. And as Spartacus starts to head into the mid, you get this candied almond note that comes out. So again, that's gonna add a little touch of creaminess alongside the orange blossom and the vanilla as well. And it also has a little hint more of a freshness to it compared to Elixir Absolute. It's not a fresh fragrance, don't get me wrong. This is not like a summertime scent or anything like that. But the way that it hits in the opening and heading into the mid, it is slightly fresher than this. So basically just simplifying that opening down, Spartacus opens really similarly to Elixir Absolute. If you're familiar with this, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, that's what they're doing here. And on a tester strip, even more so. But as that opening starts to settle, you're gonna find a bunch of differences if you're doing a side-by-side. So that's gonna be, again, the orange blossom, a little bit more of a creamy facet here, slightly cleaner, slightly fresher, less fizzy. Whereas Elixir Absolute is gonna really concentrate on that warm spice, the lavender, the tonka, and the plum. So that's the opening, but what about the mid? Well, as it heads into the mid, Spartacus actually starts to lean a little bit away from this and starts to lean closer to the PDM side of things. Just realize it's a JPG mixed with the PDM. Actually, that doesn't mean anything. So basically what Spartacus is doing as it heads into the mid is it's leaning slightly further away from that spicy, warm, fizzy sweetness and starts going more creamy, more vanilla and praline, not as spicy as Elixir Absolute, and has like a faint, dessert tone to it. Just the way that it hits, that sort of sugary praline. The cinnamon and plum, still there a little bit in the mid. You can still pick them up, but they're not as prominent. They're not as forward in the fragrance. Instead, they're like leftover color once you hit the mid. They're kind of there along the edges. They give some extra depth. They're not the focal point. And even though it is leaning a little bit more toward that Altair side of things once you hit that full mid, it's not really straight up that either. It's more like taking the overall identity of what makes that fragrance, and kind of starting to fold it and work it in to this one. Because there have been some other hybrid fragrances out there that utilize myself, right? Like myself and then Stronger With You, or myself and then the Most Wanted. And with those ones, you spray it on and initially it's like, okay, myself. And as it dries down, it clearly becomes the other fragrance. This one is more like mainly Elixir Absolute initially, like this, and Altair down here. And then they start to come more even, but as they do that, they kind of fold into each other and it becomes its own thing. So it's like you can take bits and pieces from this and that and go, okay, yeah, like I smell the orange blossom, I smell the praline. Clearly that's from Altair. I smell the plum, I smell the cinnamon, that's from this. But the way that they come together almost makes it kind of its own thing, if that makes sense. And I think the mid is where Spartacus really earns respect, if you want to call it that, because let's be honest, a lot of people, myself included, are gonna look at this bottle and say, that's pretty corny. He's legit, leaning back, like flexing his lats in the bottle. Legit, like he's got friggin' wings back there. Dude is ripped. But a lot of people are gonna look at that and just be like, really? Really? The little plastic piece at the bottom, the small head with the helmet plopped on top there and all of this. Yeah, I just think a lot of people are gonna look at it and think it looks really corny and just automatically say, that is stupid, I would never buy that. But in the opening, Spartacus smells great. In the mid, it rips. It smells really good, which is not a huge surprise because, it's taking bits and pieces from two very popular fragrances, and those note breakdowns, they work together really well. The structure of each one, they kind of like plug gaps, so it works. But if you just pretend this doesn't exist as far as the aesthetic, this stuff is good. That is, though, potentially until the dry down, which is the most important part. So how does that dry down shake out? Well, into the dry down, it still feels like a split between those two fragrances, the PDM, the JPG. It's still kind of in between the two. Maybe a little more of the Altair coming through once you hit that dry down compared to Elixir Absolute over here, but it also takes on a slight powdery undertone. And that's gonna give it its own identity when you wear it side by side with this or the PDM. So you're gonna get mainly in that dry down, the vanilla, praline, the tonka, and then musk. Of course, little remnants left over as well from the opening in the mid. The orange blossom, you can still pick up a bit of that. It's still warm, it's still smooth, it's really addictive. It's one of those fragrances that you catch whiffs of it in the air as you're moving around, and it just, you know, keeps you wanting to come back for more. Also had my wife check this one out. She loved it as well. And so I think if you were gonna compare it with like which it's closest with, opening closest to this, mid a little bit closer to Altair probably, and then dry down kind of splits the difference and does its own thing, or kind of finds its own lane a little bit. But what about performance? It's gotta perform, because, you know, this is very strong. The PDM is strong. And yeah, this is strong too. I actually screwed up and made a mistake. And the first day that I had this, you know, it came in the mail. It was around like 4 p.m. And I was like, oh, I'll just spray it on now. Check it out, see how it is. You just kind of first impressions, you know. And so I grabbed it, sprayed it on right here, just my left arm, a few sprays. And I didn't think too much about it. Just wore it, you know, kind of checked on it through the day. I know other people have got to do that when they get a fragrance in and they're just staying home. They're like, well, I'll just spray it on and just smell it. That's not weird. But I did that. And when I went to bed that night, I could still smell it pretty strongly, which meant that I was just huffing this fragrance all night long, which is not entirely a negative thing, but it is one of those deals where, you know, you put your arm like this or whatever, and then you're just like getting blasted in the face by a powerful scent, and you go, I should have scrubbed that off maybe, but I'm too late, I'm in bed, I'm lazy. I'm just gonna deal with it. Some of you have had that happen before, don't lie. So with that performance built in and the similarities it has to the JPG and the PDM, you know, that sweet, warm scent profile that you're gonna pick up from the opening into the dry down, it's not something I would wear during summer at all. Even though it has maybe a hint more freshness than this, it's still not a freshie. So this is fall, this is winter time, maybe early spring, daytime or evening for me, though I think a lot of people would say leans evening use. And I want to touch on it again really quickly, the price and the value and all that. At what I paid at eBay, which was 51 and change. I think it was 51.47 or 51.74 or something like that. You know, at that 50 plus price point, you're kind of pushing it at that point, but 28 bucks from something brand new from Armaf, which, you know, would be the same as something brand new from Afnan, Fragrance World, Lattafa, whatever. You kind of expect that initial price to be higher because that's how it seems to always go. But to launch it, essentially launch it at 28 bones, 28 bucks is kind of ridiculous. That's a great deal for how this smells. Now, if that price continues to dip, if 3 months, 6 months, something like that from now, you can get this for even less than 28, like if the price, you know, trickles down, that's stealing at that point. So really quickly, the verdict, the pros and cons. Spartacus is continuing the current trend of taking popular fragrances, very popular fragrances, and going, what if they kissed? It's because it gives you something new that you already know you're gonna like. So it's not trying to be a one-to-one with anything out there. It's basically just saying, let's take the best part of that, and put it together. And thankfully in Spartacus, it works really well. If you like Elixir Absolute, if you like Altair, you'll very likely really enjoy this one. And because it does a hybridization, it's not as redundant as if you say already own this, and then you were to buy something that's just a one-to-one with this, because at that point, you're doing the same thing. Not that that's a bad thing, but you know, you have a little more flexibility with this one. Now, the pros. To me, a fantastic hybrid of Altair and Elixir Absolute at a really affordable price after I bought mine. So yeah. The opening is great. The orange blossom in there gives it a nice smooth twist compared to the opening of this one. The mid is rich, it's creamy, it's addictive, and surprisingly well blended. It's got very good longevity, solid projection, and it has mass appeal with enough character to be interesting. Now the cons. The first one, the bottle. It does look different, it looks interesting, but some people are gonna think it looks comically bad. The atomizer also is kind of subpar. It just feels little flimsy, not the best. Not really a con for me, but if you're looking for a straight up one-to-one of this fragrance or Altair, you're going to be disappointed because it's neither. And the final con, in the dry down, it does pick up a little bit of a powdery undertone to it, which I actually don't mind at all. But if you're the type of person that hates powder in their fragrances at all, that probably won't work as well for you as the opening in the mid will. So there it is, Armaf Spartacus. I think this stuff is surprisingly awesome considering the bottle and everything, and the price point, 28 bucks, is sick. I overpaid, so. Anyway, I got a bottle for you as well. This one is not from eBay. This one is much more affordable than that one, but I think they smell the same. So if you want this fragrance, all you have to do is like the video, be subscribed to the channel, leave me a comment down below. Let me know like what hybrid you would rather see next. Like what two fragrances do you think put together would make a fantastic combo? Kind of the way that I think about it is if they work well layered, like if you layer the fragrances, I feel like it would work well if you just kind of put them together into one fragrance or made like a hybrid version. It's kind of a dumbed down way of thinking about it, but that's kind of how I picture it. I spray, it smells pretty good. Hybrid. So yeah, I'll pick a winner with random comment picker, post it up on the post tab of the YouTube channel. And if you're the winner, hit me up and I'll ship out Spartacus to you. All right, guys, that'll do it for me. Thank you for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.